Good evening. Tonight I want to talk to you about string blocks or quilt as you go. These can be done, most string blocks can be done as quilt as you go. Now, I really don't do a lot of quilt as you go. I know my sister really loves it, and she finds it so much easier to manage when she puts them together and has the whole finished quilt. So I have made up a few different quilts that use the strip string method. And again, you can do quilt as you go. As a reminder, for quilt as you go, depending on how you're going to attach the blocks together, there's different methods, but it usually is a backing, a middle, and then the pieces on top. So for this method, the string block, you take your piece and you lay it down. Then you add your next piece and put them right sides together. I use a 1/4 inch seam allowance when I do mine. As long as you're consistent, it really doesn't matter for this project. After you put the seams together, you just fold the two pieces over so the right sides are up, and you just press that down and the raw edges are hidden. So that's the basics of the string quilt and quilt as you go, the extreme basics. There are a lot of different videos out there about different ways to put them together, but I just wanted to do a quick touch base because this method, the string piece method, is what I've used for the next several quilts that I've made. So here's a block that, let me just get that one out of the way, that is made with string pieces where you lay one on top of the other. Again, use your 1/4 inch seam and you fold it back and your raw edges are gone. Now this block has kind of a pattern to it: narrow, wide, narrow, wide, narrow, wide, narrow. And again, depending on your colors and the placement, you could do a whole quilt just with this block. Maybe you'd want one going horizontal and the next one vertical, and that would make a really cool pattern. The other thing you can do with this block is start with a piece in the center. Again, this time I used different size strips: a wide, narrow, narrow, wide, narrow, narrow, and just work your way out doing the same process. Here's one where I had a rectangle piece in the center. You could put a diamond shape in the middle. I laid one piece down, worked off the two edges, and this is kind of like the courthouse steps where you do two sides opposite each other and then the next two sides until the whole block is finished. Then I also did one with a triangle here. Now this triangle, if you put the other one on top, is going to give you a different kind of design with these coming in together and flaring out. You could put a block in the center and have these be the star wings, the star legs. Here's where another triangle, and you can see where you could get some nice pointed star legs. Now this one is a little bit harder to see the pattern, but if you were to choose your light colors or just dark colors in the middle and then the opposite on the sides, that center would really stand out. So you could put all light colors in the middle and all darks around the edges. Again, it's what you start with in the middle and work your way out for them. Now this one, I started in the corner. I had a square in the corner and did the two sides like the half square, the half log cabin block. And again, I did narrow, narrow, wide, narrow, and another narrow piece. All right, so you can do lots of different things. You can do the traditional log cabin this way. Again, just the small and then going out. Now, for me, these are very tiny and I usually don't work with those. So for this other quilt that I did where I wanted these very tiny strips in my block, then I wanted the white border. To make the block itself, I took a 2-inch strip and I sewed on this side of the 2-inch strip and then on this side of the 2-inch strip, cut it down the middle, and now I have my narrow strip, but I have 2 pieces that I'm sewing at one time. So again, I had 2.5-inch strips cut on, sewed on the right side and the left, and then I cut it down the middle. So this is 1.25 inches. And when you open it up and press it, you have 2 of these 1-inch strips. And then when you put the next seam allowance on it, it's actually 3/4 of an inch. So they get really tiny, but you're working with a bigger chunk of material. And that's how I like to do it. So again, this is from one of my patterns, and I'm going to feature that here in the next couple videos where I'm using that technique to get these 3/4 of an inch strips, and I'm using some white as the sashing. So come on back, and I hope you like this new series of string quilts. Thank you very much. You have a great day. Bye now.